You're listening to the Bears Pregame Show on the Sports Renegades on SportsTownChicago.com.
Renegade, never been afraid to say what's on my mind at any given time of day, cause I'm a renegade. Never been afraid to talk about anything. Renegade, never been afraid to say.
Sports Renegades live here on SportsTownChicago.com, and this isn't just the Sports Renegades show tonight. This is the Bears Pregame Show since they play Dallas today at 7:20, 7:30?
7:30, I think, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is the Bears pregame show, and the Sports Renegades have been the host to quite a few things here on SportsTownChicago.com. We were the host of the MLB draft, the NBA draft, and the NFL draft, which is all a coincidence because it's all happening on Thursday. And now
it's true.
We are doing the Bears pregame show on this Thursday night against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to assume we're all taking the Bears to win.
I don't know. I mean, this game is actually going to be a lot harder. I mean, the Bears fan in me, of course, wants them to win, but
the Bears fan in me wants them to lose, so they lose out
right
up to Oakland.
Well, I mean, it's hard to root against them.
Yeah,
but
you can't root against the Bears.
But I mean,
I want them to win, except like if I check the box score and see that they lose, it's just kind of like okay. Except when you're watching it, which we'll get home to see most of the game. Dallas does not play very well in December, or Tony Romo doesn't, and of course we still have the fact that the Bears dominated Dallas Cowboys 45-14 last year on Monday Night Football, and I was actually at that game, and it was below zero the whole game.
Yeah, I think the Bears this season and that Bears team last season are two way different teams going in opposite directions.
Right, except one thing that I find interesting is that last year the run defense was horrible, and this year the run defense is in the top 10, which Dallas is now a running team because they don't trust Tony Romo throwing the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
I think regardless, just because of how bad the Bears defense is all around, I think Dallas wins this one pretty easily. Yeah, I think this is a game. I think this is a game they have to win.
Dallas needs to win it if they don't want to go 8-8 again. However, it's a prime time in Chicago, in these cold Chicago winds. And another thing, last year also Josh McCown played and accounted for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was definitely his best game last year, I think.
I mean, that's kind of funny that he went from being a school teacher to starting on Monday Night Football for the Bears.
Yeah, and he had that nice touchdown before the halftime
to Jeffrey, that was
to Alshon Jeffrey on the sideline there. Yeah,
that was on my side of the field, and really the key to this game is forcing Tony Romo to throw the ball, because this Bears team, they've shown that they can force the turnovers when given the opportunity, and when you face quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers who are just airing the ball out all day, they're not going to be able to force many turnovers because they're scoring touchdowns on most of their throws, except Tony Romo's very prone to throwing interceptions, and this year Dallas has limited those interceptions by limiting the amount of times he throws the ball, because he's only had one 300-yard passing game this year because he doesn't throw the ball very much. They're handing it off 25 times to DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
And if they can stop DeMarco Murray and force Tony Romo to throw the ball into the Chicago winds, which it's going to be a tough night throwing the ball for Dallas if they can stop DeMarco Murray.
That's true, because all their games are in a dome, and I know they haven't played well at home, but it helps when all those games are in a dome, and then now you go to Soldier Field where you're out in the open right on the lake, so it's going to be tough.
Right, and another thing, that's a great point, and another thing, Tony Romo he doesn't play well when it's cold out. Last year he didn't play very well. Last year, now this is a tale of two Cowboys defenses. Last year the Cowboys defense was actually worse than the Bears, except the Bears pass defense wasn't as bad as the run defense last year. However, this year the pass defense is awful, and the run defense has gotten pretty good. I mean, the run defense is a top 10 right now.
Yeah, it's doing well. It's definitely improved over last year. So if they can stop DeMarco Murray, it might be a lot of a closer game than people think.
Do you guys trust the Bears secondary at all to really do much against Romo? Though, keep in mind we're talking about the weather and everything compared to last season where it was below zero and whatnot. Tonight isn't that bad. Tonight's 25? It's probably 25, 30 degrees out there right now. Obviously, it's cooler on the lakefront.
No, it'll be colder on the lakefront.
Right, that's what I said. I said it'll be cooler on the lakefront.
Mm-hmm.
But
with those strong winds.
But even then, I mean, do you like the matchup of Kyle Fuller against
Well, it depends if Kyle Fuller's at full strength. I don't know. It's going to be tough, but I think they can do it.
Well, Tim Jennings might be on Dez Bryant, and that's probably a worse matchup for Tony Romo because Tim Jennings can catch the ball.
Right.
I mean, Tim Jennings has shown when you throw the ball to him, he's picking it off.
But I mean, are you guys even really excited for Bears games anymore? I woke up today and it was just another day, really. Especially when it's competitive games.
Right, and when you're on vacation and all the fans that are staying at the house that you're staying at are Colts and Bengals fans, and they get to watch that Bears game, it's just kind of like, well, you can't really say anything.
Right, you have nothing to really brag about, and that's the thing about the past couple weeks is these games haven't even been competitive, and that's why I think earlier in the season you woke up every Sunday and you were pumped. You were excited for a Bears game that was going to be on that day or whether it was the following Monday, but now it's just getting to that point where it's just pretty much any other day. Yeah, there's a Bears game on, but it's not the end of the world if you miss it,
Yeah.
Right, which we're going to miss some of it maybe here on the Sports Running, because we're giving you the Bears pregame show on SportsTownChicago.com, breaking up all the matchups, and obviously Dallas is a much better team than the Bears are. However, giving it's a primetime game in Chicago and when it's very cold out, it might be an interesting game. And Henry Melton makes his return to Soldier Field, and then Jeremiah Ratliff will make play his first game against Dallas.
And this just in as well, Elshon Jeffrey will start versus the Cowboys tonight as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
See, him and Marshall tore up the Cowboys last year.
And as I read in my update, Robbie Gould is out. So
didn't they?
It's going to be interesting.
They signed Jay Feely yesterday.
Jay Feely, the place kicker, he's going to be taking the place of Robbie Gould. So we'll see how he does and see if the Bears are in field goal range, if he'll make or miss some of those longer field goals.
He also doesn't even have the strongest leg, and kicking in the Chicago winds could prove even more a challenge.
It's interesting because earlier in the week they're talking about just having Pat O'Donnell handle field goal situations, but
I'm not sure I would even trust him on extra points.
Well, here's the thing: the situation of bringing in another kicker probably tells you that the injury to Robbie Gould might be a little longer than. He might be out a little longer than they thought.
And since, the season is not mathematically shot, but it's shot.
Pretty much shot.
So, I don't think they're going to try to have Robbie Gould come back fast.
Right. It's not like there's too many, even though it's real. Statistically, they probably could get in, except it's just the amount of teams that they need to bypass in order to get into one of the wild card spots is unrealistic.
Seattle's not going to lose, many games down the stretch here. So
they may win that
it's going to be tough.
Because
they could win that division because Arizona's definitely on the downside right now.
Drew Stanton, no Carson Palmer, and Drew Stanton hasn't been playing that well.
Keep in mind that even the 49ers are playing a lot better
lately
than they have earlier in their season.
Right. Did you not watch that game against Seattle?
Well, the game against Seattle was bad.
That one was obviously
But before that, they were on a little bit of a winning streak.
Yeah, they were. I just don't like the 49ers.
I think that they still, Seattle and San Francisco still have a game against each other, right?
Yeah, and that's in Seattle.
Yeah, it's going to be even harder.
Harder for Colin Kaepernick, considering the fact that he never plays well in Seattle. His worst game of the season is always at Seattle, and now he just had dropped an egg right on his own field. So
yeah, on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there's a goose egg right there, and he was horrible. And I'm just kind of thinking, when are people going to realize this guy is not a good quarterback, and he has the biggest guaranteed contract in NFL history?
Right. Well, I think the fans there still like him because he did, he brought him to a Super Bowl. He brought him to 2 NFC Championship games.
I wouldn't say he brought them there. I'd say it was that defense.
Right. Well, a lot of it had to do with the defense. A lot of it had to do with Jim Harbaugh, who I like, but
he might get traded.
I like him as far as a coach. I don't necessarily like him as a person, but
no, I don't either.
But as a coach, he'd be a better fit in Chicago.
Well, I think a lot of people would be a better fit than Mark Trestman, and we'll get in more with
mostly everybody.
Yeah, more with Mark Trestman after this quick timeout. Sports Renegades, SportsTownChicago.com.
6:21 from the SportsTownChicago.com studios. You're listening to the Sports Renegades here with you until 8 o'clock, previewing the Bears-Cowboys matchup tonight that kicks off around, 7:35?
7:35 about, yep.
Yeah, something like that. And what are our picks? I'm picking the Bears to win.
I have the Cowboys.
I'm going to go Bears, just because when the Bears, every time people think the Bears are going to lose, they usually do something stupid and then they actually win the game. And, in the long term, that's not good, but for the short term, I guess it it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears are still going to find a way to finish 8-8 and try to build a winner off of a team that'll be getting the 20th overall pick in every draft. And now we'll go through the Chicago Tribune's picks for the week. Brad Biggs picked the Dallas Cowboys to win 34-28.
I'm pretty sure everyone in there has the Cowboys picked, right?
Yeah.
Don't spoil the surprise,
Don't spoil the surprise.
I'm sure everybody has that. Cowboys.
And Brad Biggs' record is 6-6. Matt Bowen has the Cowboys winning 31-17. His record on the season 6-6.
That I could see. I could see the Cowboys winning 31-17. I could see that, but I'm still taking the Bears.
I could too. Rich Campbell took the Cowboys 27-24. He's 4-8 on the season. The only thing is, I just don't see the Bears kicking a field goal. I mean, they weren't even kicking field goals when Robbie was healthy, and now they have a kicker that doesn't have very good leg strength.
Did they have one field goal on Thanksgiving, I think?
Yeah, they did, and that was like their first field goal since the Falcons game.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
David Haw, he picked the Cowboys to win 31-23. His record is 6-6.
Okay.
I guess those are the sound effects that are going to define the Bears' season. Fred Mitchell picked the Cowboys to win 30-24. His record's 8-4, so he's one of the.
Wow, he's doing pretty good.
He's the only guy that's been picking games right. Mike Mulligan, who has the worst record of everyone, picked the Cowboys to win 31-27. He's 3-9.
Yeah, he's too positive on the Bears. I've noticed.
Yeah. He actually has won the last 2 weeks.
Well, that's good.
Other than that, every week, the week that they beat the Vikings, he was the only one that picked the Vikings to win. So
yeah, that wasn't smart.
Yeah, the Bears are making these experts look like morons this year.
I know. Well, they're making their fans look like morons too, because we always think, especially starting this year, I mean, we thought that the Bears would be, 10-6, 11-5 possibly, but now they're going to be fighting for 9-7.
Right. Dan Widerer picked the Cowboys to win 28-17. He's 6-6. Mm-hmm. So the records are getting better now that they're all picking the Bears to lose.
That's true. I'm sure they all picked Detroit last week.
Right. And the Bears' ground defense is the 10th in the league, which they definitely need a good run defense in order to stop DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
Now
that's going to be the main thing, sort of, is can you stop DeMarco Murray? Because if you can stop DeMarco Murray, that'll take away, at least 2 touchdowns from the Cowboys, and it depends if they're going to do well in the air. And don't forget, it's Tony Romo, and it's the last month of the football season, so certain things could happen where Tony Romo could fumble the ball, throw a couple interceptions. That's still possible.
Right, and of course the Cowboys' ground offense is 3rd in the league. Now, to the air, the Cowboys have the 17th passing offense, where the Bears have the 30th ranked pass defense.
Wow.
Yeah, there's really not much to say about that. 30th ranked pass defense. I mean, that's really all you need to say.
That means that the Cowboys shouldn't really struggle too much throwing it in the air, but you never know.
DeMarco Murray leads the NFL in rushing yards with 1,427, which is 381 yards more than the next closest rusher. And Murray is 2nd in the league, averaging 5 yards per carry.
I mean, I don't know what there's not much to say about that. It's
just... the only guy that's better than him in yards per carry is Justin Forsett.
Okay.
The Bears linebackers tonight are going to be John Bostic, DJ Williams, Shea McClellan, and Christian Jones.
Now, I think that there was another person out besides Robbie Gould. I don't remember who it was.
Daryl Sharpton.
Sharpton, yeah.
Lance Briggs plays last game as a Bear?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, there's no way that they would even... Well, I mean, they might consider it, but they got to start going... They have to start to go in a different direction. So
they need to get younger on the defense, because you can see having in that game against the Falcons, they looked better without Briggs because they had younger guys that are fast, where Briggs isn't really fast anymore, and now he's getting injured. And I mean, it's really the way that Phil Emery says goodbye to players is really bad, because it creates a bad relationship with that player. I mean, look how bitter Brian Urlacher is.
Yeah, it's true. He's still upset about certain things, about how that all went down.
Yeah, he is. I'm sure it'll go that way with Lance Briggs. Peanut Tillman's probably played his last game with the Bears, and that was in Week too. So, I mean, the way that the Bears are now